Bonjour français, c'est Madame Torres. This week we are going to be working on 8.03 and 8.04. So I actually have a bunch of tabs open right now that you can't see of everything that you're going to need to get done this week. There are quite a few tasks, so I want to give you as much detail as possible in this recording today to make sure that you are super well prepared for your assignments due. Now, as you know, our live lessons are every Tuesday. And this week we are going to do a collaboration during the live lesson. So you do need to prepare lesson 8.03 ahead of time in order to participate in this collaboration this week. Keep that in mind. Perhaps push off doing some of the other activities that you had planned to do before this one and go straight to this one instead. So maybe skip ahead or go back if you need to. But for 8.03, you are going to be learning about IR verbs, and in 8.04, we're going to talk about some more adjectives. I'm going to break everything down for you. So in 8.03, we have a new set of verbs we call IR verbs. They're called IR verbs just because they end with IR. Remember in Module 6, you learned a group called ER verbs. These are super, super important. Understanding verb conjugation now in French 1 is very important, especially if you plan on taking French 2. So let's take a look at what they're letting us know here. The first group we learned was ER verbs, and we learned how we take the ER off, gone, and we add different endings. E, ES, EONS, EZ, ENT. Those were the endings for the different people in IR verbs. Here we're learning about, ER verbs. Here we're learning about IR. And they give you the example of the verb finir, which means to finish. So for example, you're going to be able to say, oh, I finish my homework every day. I finished eating everything off my plate. I don't know. I finished the race in first place, right? So this verb finir, it's just one of those regular IR verbs. Through the lesson, they go through and show you how the endings change. So what we do is we take the IR off, right? We had finir, we take the IR off, and we add these different endings. Here are the endings. And they also show you how they're pronounced, which is super important. Please practice the pronunciation. So if I have a regular IR verb like finir, I change the IR to an IS for je and tu. If you don't have something to write, take some notes right now. This is a good time to pause the video and grab a sheet of paper to take some notes. So we have IS, IT for il and L, ISSONS. It's that whole thing. It's not just ONS. It's ISSONS, ISSEZ, and then ISSENT. So those are the different endings that you want to make sure you write down. Remember, it matches with the person. So to say I do something, that's an IR verb, it's an IS. You, IS. He or she, IT. We, ISSONS. You all, ISSEZ. They, ISSENT. So those are the different endings. And then, of course, you will be given a bunch of verbs that you do this to, which you also need to know. Write all of these down, right? Applaudir, maigrir, désobéir, obéir, rougir, choisir, grossir, réussir, punir. You probably heard they all sound the same at the end, right? That IR. If I take the verb applaudir and I add my IS, it's j'applaudis. Applaudis. With the IT, il applaudit. With the ISSONS, nous applaudissons. ISSEZ, vous applaudissez. ISSENT, ils applaudissent. There you go. So write down all of these because you're going to need to know what they are, what they mean, and how to use them. Here are some examples of how they are used, and pay attention to little notes in the lesson. As you continue on, you'll have some practice. Please do the practice before you get to the assignment. And then before we get to an assignment, remember I said you have more than one assignment for this lesson. You need to read through this. Les bandes dessinées has to do with cartoons. Read through Astérix, Lucky Luke, and Tintin. Those are three different kinds of comics that are very common in France. Now let's look at what you have to do. So I'm going to start with the voice activity actually. This is where you're going to choose one of those comic book characters from the previous page to talk about. You're going to choose one of them, you're going to read it. We're going to retell the story in French of the main points of the text. And you're going to pick from the choices that we have here in what you're telling. Okay? So you're going to first answer question A. What is his name? Il s'appelle. His name. And then choose at least two more of these questions to answer. Where is he from? What does he do? Does he have any friends? What does he like to do? So based on whatever information they give you in the story, you're going to answer two more of these. And you're going to record yourself. So again, picking one of those characters from the comics, tell me what his name is, and then pick two more of these to answer. Your recording is in French. The IR, the verb en ir itinerary, is where you're going to plan an itinerary, or you're going to plan a day basically for your family and for your friends. You're going to think about what the ideal day would be for you. And the goal here is to use as many of these verbs as possible, especially the IR verbs. That's what I want to see the most of. You're going to use at least 5 of the verbs below from the verb bank, and you can use more, of course. Write your sentences in present tense and use at least 2 of these IR verbs. So either choisir, réussir, applaudir, finir. 2 of those have to be used. So let's look at the example of how they put this together. They're telling us the time that they do it, so they use one of these down here. À 8 heures du matin, at 8 a.m., ma famille et moi allons en ville et achetons des vêtements pour le concert. So it looks like they're going to a concert, right? So again, for this assignment, you need to have at least 5 different verbs from the verb bank. Of these 5, 2 of them have to be IR verbs. So you're coming up with probably 5 sentences of what you're going to be doing. So I would pick 5 times down here as well. That's it for the assignments in 8.03. For our live lesson, the second half of our live lesson, we're going to be doing collaboration option number 4. So let me tell you about it. If you're unable to make a live lesson, it is up to you to email other students in your course to find a partner. But what we're going to do for 8.04, you need to have your itinerary already done, which is this thing, right? The verb en ir itinerary. You have to have those 5 sentences written already. Okay, if you don't have them written, then you won't be able to participate in the collaboration. So you're going to have those 5. What you're going to do is you're going to post them on the page when I put you into a breakout room with your partner, and you're going to read each other's sentences of what you guys wrote. And then you're going to write a reaction to them. So here's a really good example. One person wrote on their itinerary, we're going to the beach, allons à la plage. And what you want to do is write a reaction either saying that you like to do that thing or you do not like to do that thing. So we're reviewing the verb aimer. This person responded, non, je n'aime pas aller à la plage, je préfère aller à la piscine. I don't like to go to the beach, I prefer to go to the pool. So they wrote their reaction. You could have written, I like the beach. Oui, j'aime la plage. Or I want to go with you to the beach. Je veux aller à la plage. But you're basically writing a reaction, 5, because they're going to have 5 sentences. 1 reaction for each activity that they planned for their family. Okay, moving on to 8.04. In 8.04, you're learning about 3 new adjectives, beau, nouveau, and vieux. I highly recommend that you use your note-taking guide for Module 8 because there's a chart in it that shows you the different forms of each of these. So beau, nouveau, and vieux are just adjectives like you've learned in the past, and they just mean beautiful, new, and old. There's nothing special about them. The only thing is how they're spelled and how they actually have an extra way of being spelled. So let's take a look at them. This chart is going to be super handy. We know that everything in French has a gender, and you know now that you have to match the gender of the person or the object and with the adjective. So that adjective has to reflect who they are. If it's masculine, the adjective has to be spelled in the masculine form. If it's feminine, feminine form. So here's the first example. Un beau matin, a beautiful morning. Beau for beautiful is spelled this way because morning is masculine. Then we have the feminine form down here. It's spelled belle, B-E-L-L-E. And then we have masculine plural, feminine plural. What's new for you is that there's a second masculine form, singular masculine before a vowel. What that means is, if I have a word that's masculine and I want to say it's a beautiful thing, if it starts with a vowel sound, like this one does, I use B-E-L instead of beau, B-E-A-U. That also happens with nouveau. If it's masculine and starts with a vowel, I use nouvelle here with one L instead of nouveau. And if it's old, I use vieille here with an L instead of vieux. So this chart here is what you really want to practice the most with. Okay? Pay close attention to the acronym BAGS, or here we call it BANGS, beauty, age, numbers, goodness, and size. That is kind of a review of something we've learned actually in the past. So here's some practice. You should have already written down, or you have a copy right now of that chart that I told you. Here's an example of what you're going to do. We have the words a new book. So what I have to know is the word book masculine or feminine? Un livre. It is masculine. Then I want to think, okay, I need the word for new when it's masculine. So I'll look at my chart. Here's the word new. And when it's masculine, I think it's nouveau. Livre. It starts with an L, so it's not going to be the second one because it's not a vowel sound. Let's go ahead and check the answer. There we go. Un nouveau livre. Right? Let's do one more. A pretty girl. Well, the word girl is obviously feminine, right? Fille, une fille. So to say pretty in the feminine form on my chart, pretty is belle. Belle. Let's check it out. We got it. Une belle fille. So I want you to keep practicing with each of these before you get to the activity. Here is the activity that you're going to do. You're going to choose at least 6 of these pictures to describe. Here's a picture of a boy with a raincoat. We want to describe the raincoat. We want to describe the raincoat as being new. All you have to say is a new raincoat. In French, of course. Right? Number 2, we'll do this one together. Describe the TV as old. Well, the word TV is la télé. La télé is feminine. Let's look at our chart. We want to say old, so it has to be one of these. La télé is singular feminine. I'm going to use this version here, vieille, to say une vieille télé. Une, U-N-E, right? Vieille, and then télé. That's feminine. That's it. That's all you're doing, and you're doing that to 6 of these pictures. There's a lot going on this week. You have a lot of work to get done, but I highly suggest attending the live lesson and getting 803 itinerary done, because then you'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll be totally done with that assignment. We're going to be going over a little bit of 8.03, the first half of class. So just come to class if you have any questions or need help with it. We'll do 8.03, and I'll also go over some examples of 8.04 one more time. If you have any questions, remember you can reach me at my number 321-348-2810. You can call me, text me, email me. I'm always here to help. Merci, see you soon. Au revoir.